What's up, gamers? This is Yuban with a Mechabellum Replay commentary. Today we are going to showcase how we play Assault Marksman by utilizing the Elite Specialist. Looking at the starting packs, we decided that the Elite spec was a viable option because we are starting off with the chaff pack of crawlers as well as some nice early game tanks in the sledgehammers. These are units that we don't mind never leveling and just feeding to the enemy. And we want to avoid having our level 2 recruitments feeding to our opponent's units too early in the game. Therefore, having these meat shield at level 1 is very valuable and makes Elite Specialist entirely playable in this kind of scenario. Our opponent is Narayan, a Russian streamer, a Meg 1 competitor, playing as the Rhino Specialist, starting with Tarantula and Void Eye. Looking at our opponent's starting units, we decided to once again go for the Marksman opening. One was because we realized that opponent only has the possibility of deploying 2 packs of crawlers. Therefore, getting 2 arc lights would kind of be an overkill in a way, and they don't do enough damage against our opponent's tarantulas and void eyes. Therefore, we decided to go for the marksman. And part of it was also that we thought maybe it would be fun to play Assault Marksman as Elite spec. And I will explain why that is such an attractive option later on. So from here, we just decided to put our sledgehammers in the mid-range and all of our units kind of 5 tiles in front of the tower. And with this kind of placement, we get a very lucky instant lock-on by both of the level 2 marksmen in the process, allowing our chaff on the left side to just run over our opponent's void eyes, essentially making them rendering them a bit useless, if you ask me. And now that's going to lead us to clearing chaff with marksman, typical, and have our last marksman clean up the rest of the board, leading into a 100 HP victory. We get round 2 unit reinforcement right away. I decided to go for the Phoenix right away because we were thinking about going for Assault Marksman, and we didn't need Sabertooth or Stormcallers to fight our opponent's army in this kind of close range headbutt. And I felt like the Arclight at level 3 was a little bit not very effective for us. I was afraid that it would just feed to our opponent's Void Eyes and Tarantulas. Opponent also goes for the Phoenix, recognizing that he has no anti-air in the moment. And recognizing that, I know I said recognizing a lot, and I think he predicted that we were going to go for the Phoenix in the deep flank, because this is a very typical move in the high MMR on round 2. Even without the unit drop. So he put down 2 packs of fangs on his weak side tower and his Phoenix. So this is a 400 supply investment. And our opponent did not reinforce, well, he did reinforce his strong side with only 1 pack of fangs. Let's see if this 1 pack of fang can prevent this tarantula from getting early lockdown. Meanwhile, we did not reinforce our strong side at all, just choosing to go for the right side deployment, trying to protect our tower. It seems like with a lucky targeting, our left side marksman once again found the correct mark in targeting down our opponent's level 1 tarantula. So as you can see from here, even without our Phoenix coming into effect, getting us a tower debuff, we were still able to clean up our opponent's left side push without reinforcing the push at all. So I would say a little bit a very fortunate situation, as once again, we don't want these level 2 marksmen to die too many times in the early game, feeding our opponent lots of experience. With that, we're able to clean up the rest of the board, granting another small round victory. Now, going into round 3, we are elite spec, so getting into these giant units makes it really difficult, let alone a giant item. We could be thinking about the advanced missile device, because all of our units are kinda heads up, kinda right on the line here. Here I decided to check the HP of the Void Eyes, deciding that, hey, I don't need to buff up the Sentry Missile attack because the Void Eyes already die to the regular missiles. And from here, we decided to go for a funky little jump drive, thinking that if our opponent is committing so hard on the right side, maybe he's going to neglect his strong side. And let's try the Phoenix jump drive a little bit to kind of, not trying to achieve like an overwhelming victory, however, just kind of keeping on his toes, keeping kind of guessing every single round, hoping that he would make some kind of mistake in the process, or just kind of overthink maybe. And from here, we decided to take another stab at the weak side tower by putting down a Sentry Missile. You see that opponent, very clever, decided to go for range enhancement on the Tarantula and guarding both sides deep flank. He's essentially telling us, enough of your BS in your flank. This Tarantula and the Fangs are going to protect against everything. And he is right. You're going to see us wasting 50 supplies here just to feed a pack of crawlers to our opponent's Tarantulas here. However, by getting a pack of level 2 Fire Badger in the middle here, it's allowing our outside newly added level 2 marksman to find its mark on the Tarantula. And with our late teleporting in Phoenix getting us a tower debuff, we were once again able to take our opponent's push down and manage to survive with quite a few units in this process. Let's see here. Yeah, taking our opponent down to 3000 HP. Very nice by round 4. That's the power of the elite spec tempo. Round 4, super supply enhancement. I don't think I even looked at the other options. Given that we are at full health and a very high HP pool as elite spec, and we're on round 4, I think this is an instant pick for both of us. Opponent gets his power spike on round 4 with the level 2 Rhino, and you saw that he immediately sold it. I was kind of shocked when I found out about this because I was actually quite scared of this level 2 Rhino, and that's why we decided to recruit another marksman and put it on the right side here, thinking that when we click the assault marksman tech later on, this singular marksman is going to protect against pretty much any medium-sized units that's dropped in the deep flank later on. We also decided to put down a Fire Badger on the left side, trying to target this pack of crawler. I did think about immediately putting it right on the line here, anticipating the possibility of our opponent doing this mobile beacon trick with the crawler. This is going to be very devastating given the state of our board. We require the Fire Badger chaff clear, and we also need the DPS from our level 3 marksman. Opponent from here just decides to expand his Tarantula line and guarding it with an extra fang on the side here. Let's see if this marksman is going to be confused and shoot a chaff, or if it's going to be a smart one shooting a Tarantula. And once again, using our jump drive Phoenix, we thought about putting it right here to instant target the Tarantula. However, we decided maybe let's try another missile plus Phoenix play. I'm hoping the Phoenix can lock on to the Tarantula. Doesn't seem to be the case. And as you can see here, with pretty much 1/3 of our frontline army going to Narnia here, chasing 3 singular crawler, our opponent's Tarantula and Void Eyes are going to clean up our marksman in the process, resulting in a very overwhelming victory. And this is going to result in 3 levels on the Tarantulas. This is very scary, guys. Not only does our opponent equalize the HP pool, but he brought us down. He got to a point that he has 3 level 2, meaning that these Tarantulas will now be able to take out Sledgehammers very quickly and even take down our Fire Badgers in the process. Now we have round 5 unit reinforcement. I thought maybe Phantom Ray could be a good one, or the Wraith, being that our opponent has very little chaff clear right now. And very little anti-air right now. His only anti-air are in the form of the level 1 Fangs. So let's go for the Wraith. Let's try to take a stab at this tower once again, hoping the Wraith can just erase all the Fangs and our Wraith can just kind of lock on to the level 1 tower. Opponent, utilizing the Super Supply Enhancement Extra Supply, sold out of the Sabertooth drop and immediately went into double Raiden with the range tech. This is terrible timing for us because this is the same round that we put down our Phoenix right on the line, trying to take down these high damage dealing Void Eye. They did 25,000 damage last round. So these Raidens are going to instant target the Phoenix and also going to instant target our level 2 Fire Badgers, now with range enhancement. Let's hope that our Fire Badgers can stay alive for long enough to just chaff clear and get rid of the crawlers in the process. Let's see. Now we got an extra Fire Badger with range enhancement to deal with the annoying crawler pull. And seems like our Wraith push is getting in and taking no damage at all. However, with our Wraith stuck on the Tarantula, our marksmen are not going to be able to clean up the Raidens fast enough. As you can see, they're getting gunned down one by one, feeding juicy experience to our opponent's newly deployed Raidens. Now they're both ready to go to level 2. This makes the Raidens just that much harder to deal with. This is getting very scary. Just like that, opponent takes 2 rounds in a row. In hindsight, we probably should have put our Raiden's beacon a bit to the middle into the tower and not go right into the Tarantula. That was a big mistake. If we had gotten the tower debuff, we probably would have been able to clean up our opponent's Raidens. Anyways, going into round 6, Ion Blast shows up. Strikehound, mass-produced Rhino, and Shield. With the Raidens being super efficient at shield breaking, this would not be very good. So we decided to jump on the Ion Blast right away, thinking that we can go for some kind of horizontal sweep to take down both of our opponent's Raidens in one spell. Our opponent goes for something very similar here. Recognizing our mistake from the last round, we changed the trajectory of our beacon, going a little more inward, avoiding this level 2 Tarantula in the process. And this round, we finally decided to double tech our high level marksman with range and assault mode. You saw that we sold out of our level 2 marksman from earlier because we wanted the extra cash, and we decided that this guy was no longer effective because we're going to just defend the deep flank with maybe the Fang, maybe by tower level, etc. Opponent here went for a very high MMR, very pro move by beaconing all 4 of his key units in the front backwards, avoiding the Ion Blast entirely. Initially, I thought he was going to beacon this pack of units out and forward. That's why we fixed our Ion Blast and put it a little more on the left side, hoping to catch these units as they move forward, as they move to the left. However, I did not anticipate this entire backward maneuver. Very, very clever. And because of that, he changed the trajectory of his Ion Blast as well. And that's going to essentially make us waste the entire Ion Blast on killing a few chaff units, while his Ion Blast is going to destroy our Assault Marksman in the process. And look at this huge Ion Blast, damaging everything in the process, allowing the Raiden to get to safety. And looks like our Wraith was finally able to achieve his job from the last round by getting this level 1 tower debuff. However, it was a little too late. Too little too late. And now he just becomes Raiden food, feeding experience to these guys here. Alright, we have just lost, I think, 3 rounds in a row, and we're down to 1600 HP. The reinforcement here, we were looking at 2 things. We were either thinking about getting way more DPS to help us take down the Raiden, or the laser sight to allow our marksman to stay back a little bit so we can potentially match the range of the Raiden. We're never going to outrange them until we click the elite marksman. So that's exactly what we did. Laser sight, putting it on our strongest marksman that did the most damage, hoping that this guy here, by being in the center, we can target both of these tarantulas. And by taking out the tarantula, maybe we can overwhelm our opponent with the chaff clear. Overwhelm our opponent with chaff units. And because we're so rich with super supply, we were able to click the final tech to complete our Carry Assault Marksman build, the Elite Marksman. Now our level 3 Marksman has 160 range with a temporary range, actually outranging our opponent's Raiden, or matching them. From here, we decided, okay, this tower is so heavily fortified with so many fangs and the Raiden Tarantula. Let's maybe go for something different. Let's go for a sideways beacon to make a push to reinforce the push on our strong side. And from here, we decided to go for Fire Badger from the last round, but went for a marksman right here, closer up on the line. You see that we're trying to instant lock onto this tarantula here, trying to take it down to disable our opponent's chaff clear in the middle of the board. If we can win the chaff war, we can disable the Raiden's DPS on the major units. And seems like our beacon is going to work out really well. As you can see, our opponent, after getting debuff last round, decided to reinforce the weak side tower with one more Raiden far back here, and maybe one more Tarantula. Yes, indeed. Now, with both deployments being here, and while we are reinforcing our strong side push, let's hope that we can finally break through and reverse our opponent's strong momentum. And see, with elite spec, not only are we doing extra damage, we are locking onto our opponent's tarantula very, very early. And that's allowing us to survive with some crawlers still coming into the battle later on in the game. And that's going to result in a very fortunate tower debuff, allowing us to reverse the momentum and equalizing the HP with our opponent. Now, going into round 8, spells are just phenomenal. Or in this kind of scenario, it can help us win a round really big and potentially just win the game. We decided to go for the firebomb, thinking that there is a chance that our opponent is not going to shield the right side. So let's try to take a stab at our opponent's weak side tower once again by erasing all of the fangs in the process, allowing our high-level marksmen, as we are elite recruiting them at level 3 and level 2, hoping that they can just lock on instantly. You saw that we decided to undo all the moves. Instead of recruiting a bunch more marksmen, we thought, hey, our opponent has EM shot and has a lot of Raidens. However, he doesn't have any Mustangs to deal with air chaff. So what if we go for Wasp with shield as a secondary chaff, especially knowing that our side of the board is going to get lit on fire. So we're going to lose 1.5 pack of crawlers in the process. Honestly, looking back at this game, at this current moment, I think we should have been deploying way more crawlers in the process. Instead of doing all these silly shenanigans, with the deep flank and attacks, in the early game, we should have just focused on building more chaffs in the back wave. This way, when we take down the Tarantula, our opponent's Raidens are going to just shoot at chaff all day, like right now. Seems like opponent does shield the fire, allowing him to defend against our double marksman push with relative ease. However, with our opponents out of chaff on the left side and our fire badgers are still running in strong, we're luckily having 4 marksmen staying alive, and with a nice tower debuff, seems like we're going to be able to take our opponent down to just 1000 HP. Now, round 9. Potentially the very last round, depending on how each of us play this game here. Our opponent went for the triple Typhoon with aerial spec, trying to target our Wasp. In this case, we decided to not go for the Wasp anymore, and we went for the Sandworm drop, thinking that it could potentially be a very nice tanky boy to tie up our opponent's Raiden shots for a few seconds, allowing the DPS units to do their thing. However, here is when I finally realized our opponent went for the EM shot. I don't know if he clicked it on round 8 or round 7. However, now that we see it and notice it, we decided, oh crap, maybe we need to sell out of our Worm for some extra cash. And let's go for a photon emission. This is going to be very effective for both our Fire Badger's survivability and to keep our marksmen having their triple tech, which is super valuable. But as you can see here, this is very expensive. 900 to get 2 level 2 Farseers and then clicking the photon emission. That pretty much costs everything we have on this round 9 with the super supply. From here, we just set up our board ready for battle with all the enhancements, all the missiles, and let's try to go for this horizontal beacon once again, recognizing our push into this tower is has just been way too weak, and it's just not doing much at all. Seems like with our photon coating and the Farseer extra DPS, we are doing quite well on the left side of the board. However, as soon as our opponent's Raiden get one shot on our marksman, we lose all of our tech, and these just revert back to really weak regular marksman in the process, dealing a little bit less damage and having a lot less HP. And just like that, opponent takes us down to death door, going into round 10. With the photon emission spell showing up and the electromagnetic impact showing up at the same time, we decided to go for the photon because there's a high likelihood that we're going to guess the site wrong and drop the EM impact on the wrong pack of units. From here, we decided to go for this spell because we thought, okay, we don't want to get another Farseer to emit photon. That's expensive. If we have a spell here that's large area, why not go for it? And let's take a stab at our opponent's level 2 tower. After showing him that, hey, we've been going sideways, trying to avoid this tower, maybe he's going to concentrate his attention on the left side of the tower, especially when he just lost the left side earlier in round 9. So with the Ion Blast and the Photon Emission, we decided to go for high-level crawlers, going for underground crawler tech. Not sure if this is going to help us at all. It would be nice if we have like 4 more packs of crawlers in the back. However, that's the best we got. We realized that if we can take out this frontline Fang shield, the Raidens are actually quite exposed, especially if we're coming into our opponent's tower with these level 3 crawlers. And from here, put down some shields in case our opponent goes for the EM or any kind of missile attack, and we just put down tons of sentry missiles trying to take out the frontline chaff units. You can see here the level 3 crawlers with underground actually stalled quite a bit, and this is allowing us to buy time to clear all the frontline units in front of this level 2 tower and actually just taking down all the Raidens outright without even getting the tower debuff. And with us having the tower debuff timing and a few more marksmen, we're able to reverse the game a bit and pull out a victory on round 10. This was quite an intense game overall, as the battles were going for so long that our photon emission was actually running out before our Raidens were able to get killed by the marksman. Therefore, we were always running into the risk of having these high-level Raidens taking out our marksmen and disabling all their techs in the late game, in the later rounds. I think what helped us on round 10 was a fortunate ion beam targeting it right in front of the tower, essentially killing all the Fangs that were walking into in front of the tower to protect, taking out the Tarantula, taking out the Typhoon, and damaging the Raidens in the process. Look at this Raiden. Stuck shooting on level 3 crawlers, a level 3 Raiden, 3,000 damage done. While I would say these newly recruited level 3 marksmen just went to town with 100k combined damage. That's the power of the elite spec assault marksman, where we can instantly put down a lot of firepower on one side of the board by elite recruiting a bunch of high level units. And I'm glad we were able to showcase you guys this one of my favorite specialists to play assault marksman with. So yeah, that concludes our replay analysis for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.